What's good everyone, it's your boy BTB Max and today we're reviewing Crop Circle 2, the new album by Nines. This video is going to work. I'm going to introduce the album and the context of the album when it came out. I'm going to do a track by track breakdown with some of my favourite bars. Then we're going to address some of the key talking points of the album and give it an overall rating and chat what's next for Nines. Without further ado, let's get into the album. The context going into this album, this is Crop Circle 2, so it's kind of the sequel to Crop Circle. Nines has done this before with One Foot In, One Foot Out. Interesting to me that he chose Crop Circle to do a sequel to. He did say that's his favourite project, so maybe that's why. Nines' last album, Crabs in a Bucket, went #1, and man, I loved that album. And then since that came out, Nines went to prison and then come back out and he's written this. You can tell from this album that going to prison has really changed Nines' perspective on his career, saying he don't want to be in his 30s in a prison cell. He needs to sort this out. He needs to move away from the streets and focus more on music or other business adventures. Nines was saying in his last album that he's just a drug dealer that raps, you know, he's not a rapper. This one he's saying, I'm not a rapper, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm many things, but I'm not just a drug dealer anymore. Let's get into the track by track breakdown of the album. So track 1, as always, is called Intro, and Nines has made himself the king of the intro. With his style of rap, he doesn't need to do anything too mad. He never does these mad conceptual albums. He's just a storyteller about his own life, and his songs tell you that story. Intro is just an update to where he's at now. He touched on his life going into the release of Crabs in a Bucket, and then how he went to jail, and then where he is right now. In the story of the song, he's telling you about how he tried to move away from the streets. Because of COVID, there wasn't much money coming in, so he decided to go back, and in doing this, he got himself arrested and got himself a sentence. Mad how much detail he goes into. He said he got caught doing a trial run, and that's what got him in prison. And it's lucky it was the trial, because otherwise it'd have been some serious numbers. But Nines starts to introduce the topic of he don't want to be in prison, and he doesn't really want to be in the streets anymore. He can't relate to it too much, but he wants to earn money. Track 2, Highly Blessed featuring Wretch 32 and Scraps. Would love to know how you get a feature from someone that's in jail. Is he allowed out? Do you go in? Like, how does that work? Both Wretch 32 and Scraps did their thing on this one. Wretch on the hooks these days is just absolutely killing it. This song's about counting your blessings. Nines is talking about how he's taking slightly more precaution. People like Nipsey Hussle died on their own block, you know, you need to protect yourself. This kind of portrays the street life in a different way, that no matter how respected, OG, rich you are, you're never ever safe if you're involved. I got 2 favourite bars from this one. One from Nines, Can't afford to slip, we got guns on my tour, I ain't a rapper, I'm an entrepreneur. Kind of summarizes the whole song in that one sentence there. And then the other one from Scraps is again the same thing. I'd rather keep my burner on me, risk the bird, than end up on a t-shirt. It's the life I live, I've always got to stay alert. As someone who is not at all involved in the hood life, this kind of puts some perspective on it to me. I always see rappers like Lowski, Potter Paper, Scraps, J Hus, all these guys that have gone to jail for carrying a weapon, no matter how famous they are. I've always been like, that's a silly move. Why are you carrying a weapon when you're this, you've got so much to lose? Their perspective, it doesn't matter how famous you are, if you got enemies, you got enemies. And so you would rather serve a sentence for carrying a weapon to protect yourself than not carry one and risk dying. Yeah, that one was deep. Track 3, Favela featuring J Styles. Nines fans know about J Styles. These two got great chemistry and this song is a real nice vibe. It's about putting in that work, but Nines is realizing he's too old for it and he's too grown for it. But people doing balloons and lean, it's just not for him. He don't want to be involved in that and he's kind of questioning it all again. Having J Styles on the chorus saying, you know where I be, I'm in the favelas, talking about doing stuff, you can tell there's still a conflict of interest for Nines. And how much he wants to get away from it, he's still surrounded by it. It's a great song and it's again good for the progression of the album and telling the story that he's going to tell. My favourite bar, my album went #1, I can't even sleep, said I'm about to stop trapping, that lasted a week. It's telling that story I just said. He wants to leave but he can't. It's hard to escape him. Even though he just got a #1 album, no matter how big a superstar he is, you can't escape the life. That's why it's called The Trap. Track number 4, Calendar. This is Nines on his pimp type stuff. I can't lie, I just found this track so funny. How can you have a song about having a different girl for every day of the week, about having a different girl of every star sign? Like, it's just funny to me. This is where Nines comes across as very American, in that he's a bit of a pimp, he's a player, got a girl for every day of the week. You know, in the thug mansion, and he's got the beauty parade in the video. It's all very American, but it's funny and it's light and it sounds really good too. My favourite bar, Wednesday got a man that plays for Chelsea. She sends me selfies and FaceTimes when he's at the gate. Like, you know, every Chelsea player, they got a little bit mad when they heard that. They got a little bit like, me? Not mad girl, Nah, but the best part is at the end when she's like, it's Shanice, and he's like, who? And she's like, it's Tuesday. Like, that's just so funny to me that he calls them by the day of the week. My only issue with this song is that it should be called Tuesday. It shouldn't be called Calendar. I don't think Calendar fits it. On a deeper level, it suggests that you can't really have any strong relationships in this scene. On the surface, it looks great that you can have as many girls as you want. But Nines, he's in his 30s now. He's got a couple kids. Maybe he wants something deeper. And his lifestyle doesn't allow him to have that. Track number 5, Nothing Like Me featuring M Huncho. I really like this collab with these two. I think it works quite nicely. This isn't a massively standout song on the album, but it's kind of nice just flexing on all elements of his life. He's basically saying everything I do I set levels. You're nothing like me. Nothing too meaningful with the track, but M Huncho Nines, it just works quite nicely. That's the best part of the song for me. And my favourite bar is just the intro, and he's like, if I was M Huncho, I'd be effing bees with my mask on. Track number 6, Weed Man. Arguably, this is my favourite song on the album, purely for Lilo Gold. She has just got such a beautiful voice. And given that she has most of the song, it does kind of have that interlude feel. Nines only has one verse on it. But it's very chill, very calm and very relaxed. And I really like it. She just sounds so beautiful. I mean, the point of the song is in the name. Nines is just a weed man now. And he sort of talks about how he loves to smoke it and sell it and he's good at it, whatever. But Nines' sort of philosophy is that he won't sell hard drugs anymore. He'll just sell weed because he thinks it should be legal. He's good at it and he can make some good money. Nines is a big man in every element of his life. So just calling him a little weed man. Look what he gone and done though. Like, everyone knows a weed man, but Nines, look at what he gone and done. Yeah, it's quite humbling to put it in that perspective. I like it though. Great song for me, and I do love interlude type songs on albums because they do just slow things down and break it up, and I love hearing the singing, I can't lie. Track 7, Tony Soprano 2. This was the first song we heard from the album. You could check out my reaction/review of it, I've already done it on my channel. But essentially this is Nines just barring, straight rapping, like the guy says in the intro. You know how Nines raps, he's just bragging, flexing and just spitting bars. I love the beat to this one. It has that sort of hustler's energy to it that Nines brings on the whole thing. There's no chorus or anything like that. It's just straight Nines rapping for the whole song. Yeah, this kind of epitomizes Nines as a rapper, this song here. I like it. Track 8, What's Beef featuring Pot of Paper. This song puts everything into perspective. Like, what is it for? What's it worth? All these things you can and can't do because of a bit of beef over what? And I love that he's got Pot of Paper on it because they kind of go back and forth. They kind of repeat the chorus but add their own bars to it. What I love about Pot of Paper is he's got that heart in his voice. Like, it kind of really makes you evaluate what you're doing. Beef will have you living like Sully by the beach. I do really like this song, and it's again Nines kind of realizing what's the point. Which again must have been a thought process that he learned in prison and probably when he got stabbed as well. And funny enough, they quote Sully from Top Boy in this, and did you know that Nines could have played Sully when they first cast Top Boy? I'm glad they didn't because I can't imagine anyone doing a better job than Kano, but I do just find that quite like a nice little crossover. Track 9, Different League featuring Clavish and Nafe Smalls. First of all, Nafe Smalls, what this guy can do on a song is unbelievable. I love this guy. It kind of just sets the tone for the song, and Clavish works so well on it as well. It's like his type of beat. Again, the title says enough about the song, Different League. Nines chatting about how he used to live in a block, now he lives in a mansion. Or used to just be a little rapper, now he's selling out tours. Again, every aspect of his life, he's living on a different league to everyone else that's doing it. Clavish is another artist that can kind of relate to Nines in this sense. Maybe he's slightly early on his career. Again, Nafe on the hook, kind of embodying the whole thing. I can sell stuff, I can sing stuff, I can get as many girls as I want, you know. It's every aspect that Nines is talking about, he's kind of repeating it as well. My favourite bar from this, if you ain't trying to buy a yacht next year, we ain't in the same boat. Like, damn, I can't even buy a car. And these guys think about buying yachts? Yeah, nah, different league, man. Track 10, Wristwatch. This song is called Wristwatch / Prayed for This. I don't know why I can't say that. Wristwatch almost feels like an interlude, like tick tock, na na na. Like hearing Nines sing, you can kind of tell he's just having a bit of fun with it. But I like how the song changes it up halfway through and it suddenly has that sort of hard hitting, slows it down a bit, and you know, it kind of feels like that hungry sort of music. You know, Nines just sort of reminding himself that he prayed for this, you know, he was in a cell not long ago, now look what he's got and he's on the verge of what he wants. Kind of feels like a reality check for Nines. I love the bar, I was Millie rocking in my Richard Millie. Imagine Nines Millie rocking. Forget the Richard Millie, just imagine Nines Millie rocking. Track 11, F the World featuring Tiggs the Author and Koji Radical. Now you know Nines and Tiggs have never missed of a song. I do kind of wish I had another Tiggs song though, because Tiggs always makes a banger. Like if you want to do a banger with Tiggs and Nines, you can do one. This isn't that, but Tiggs does his thing on this song, and so does Koji. Again, clues in the title of the song. This song's about nothing good's happened for me. F the world, man. In this song, Nines saying he doesn't want to go back to jail. He doesn't want to trap anymore. But he's saying he's got a bit of anxiety. He's a bit anxious to do so. You know, Google's reading his thoughts. Employment's at an all-time low. How's he going to get a job? Nines is addressing his doubts to leaving the trap in this song here. He ends his verse with, I'm having a bad day. The sky's mad grey. You know, suggesting that this is just his bad day thoughts talking. It's not what he's genuinely thinking, but it's still there. Track 12, Line of Fire Part 6. If you know Nines, you know Line of Fire Part 1 to 5. So this is a song where he brings on a lot of other people and lets them spit their stuff. And Nines kind of match the energy at the start of the song. These are a lot of guys that are about it. So the energy is a bit more aggressive, a bit more violent, a bit more active. And Nines kind of matches it in his first verse, but this isn't really a Nines song. This is kind of a collab song. Big up J Styles once again. He did his thing on the chorus of this one. Track 13, Letter to Hydro Interlude. This song starts with almost a voice note from Nines telling the story of Hydro. How he's in jail for a very long time, and Nines kind of took over as a result of him, and he's very grateful for that. And then the song is a reflection of what Nines' life maybe could have been like had he gone another way. It's kind of a realization that he's got a second chance, that he's not in this. He was only in jail for a little bit, and his life could be like theirs. As much as someone can look after you from the outside, they can't give you freedom. And I mean, again, as someone with zero affiliations to anything street, whatever, it's kind of mad to hear these things like you got a child that you miss, your girl's obviously left you because you're away for a long time. Yeah, it's sort of mad to hear these things and get an insight into what it's actually like it's crazy. And then it ends with a voice note from Hydro as well, saying that he's proud of Nines and he's proud of Crop Circle too, which again must give Nines that kind of realization that I have to do something with myself, and that they must be proud of him for not ending up where they are. Track 14, Hear Me Out, arguably the best song on the album. This to me is Nines at his best. Beat is slightly relaxed, slightly euphoric, and it kind of gives Nines the freedom to just vent and rap freely. And you know, he's rapping about everything he's kind of addressed in the album. He's got some flexing, he's talking about how he's made it, he's talking about some worries of his. He spits some of the hardest bars in this song. Probably his best flows are on this song. It's quite weird to me how it ends, that he's in his flow and he goes, alright, that's enough. Maybe it shows that while this is his best at rapping, he doesn't love rapping enough to keep going. I don't know, it just feels a bit abrupt to end it. The positioning of this song in the album is brilliant, because when I first heard it, I was like, this has to be the outro. It's got that sort of very wind down, accomplished kind of feel, but then when you hear the outro, it makes sense. Some unreal bars in this one. F for MBE, I was knighted in the streets, kind of just like Nines in a bar. I'm running through these bricks like Harry Potter at the train station. Like, that's such a niche reference that only Nines could think of and make, and it sounds cold. Every time I threw a party, I had snipers on the roof. Like, again, that's probably true. Yeah, this might be my favourite song on the album. If it wasn't for that ending, this would be clear. And then to the final song, Outro. About the song, Nines is saying, I tapped out, I don't care, I don't know who got stabbed, shot, robbed, I don't care. This is kind of Nines signing off from the streets and saying he's on to better and bigger things. And he's doing stuff for the youth. He doesn't even litter anymore, his team saved the planet. Like, that's my hardest bar from this song. Again, it has that really nice outro feel. Nines feels quite relaxed, quite sort of just open, and that he's just saying, frankly, I'm tapped out, I don't care. Like, he hasn't got too much emotion in his voice, he's kind of just saying it how it is. And you know, he's realizing he could be directing movies or rapping. Like, he's got loads of other avenues to make money, and he doesn't need this anymore. It comes with too much drama and too much pain and too much wasted life. Saying Zeno Records is the new Rockefeller, like, that's levels. He's saying in the little things he's set up, he could actually take them to all these other places. Like he has with every other part of his life. Think of songs like Different League, where he's saying, I'm in a different league to everyone in every aspect of my life. Now focusing his vision on better things and trying to just amplify all of them, because he knows he can do it. He's done it all his life. Again, another quality outro from Nines, one of his best ones, and it just sort of really rounds off the album, and it really makes it flow perfectly. That was the song by song and the review for the album. Now let's talk about some of the talking points. Let's talk about the flow of the album. Nines has just got this to a T. He knows how to intro an album, he knows how to outro an album. He has a right balance of features, and again, he doesn't really work with any massive superstar names. It's all people that just make sense for Nines, like whether they're boys, whether they work well, whether they know each other. And you don't see Nines branch out too far from what he's comfortable doing, because what makes Nines so good is that he just spits his story, his truth, his reality. He doesn't try and do some mad artistic stuff and explore a whole different genre or a different sound. Like, he just does what he's good at doing. And because he's lived such a mad life, he has these amazing bars that he can spit. And then he's also got a really good pen, and that he can make it sound funny or appropriate or do a nice entendre here and there. You don't really feel like anything goes over your head too much with Nines, which is why people like him, because you can understand what he's saying. Keeping it real, Nines hasn't really got any pop songs on this album, which is a good and a bad thing. You think about Crop Circle 1, there was See You Shining. Crabs in a Bucket, there was NIC, there was Airplane Mode. This album doesn't really have one of those songs. To me, it's like, we're coming up to summer, I'd like to have a couple Nines songs I can play on the aux. Nines has shown that he can do that, and obviously with Tiggs on the album, he had potential to maybe do another kind of banger like that. So finally, what's next for Nines? He hinted on a podcast prior to this album that he's only got one album, then he's done. However, a while ago, we found out that him and Fredo have a joint tape together, which we've known this for a few years now, so whether that's going to come or not, we're yet to see. Nines does suggest throughout the album, though, that he's putting more focus on rapping, so maybe he does have more albums to drop. But then if he is out of the game entirely, what's he going to rap about? You know what I mean? Given his age, he might not need to drop another album, do you know what I mean? I was saying in the outro, I'm tapped out multiple times. Obviously, he's referring to trapping in this instance, but he might be, you know, it might be hinting at what else he's tapped out of. I really hope he doesn't, because I love Nines and I love his dedication to his art. You know, it's not just an album, he does singles, he does music videos, he does merch, and he does a whole movie, and he directs it, acts in it. It's incredible what he does, and so I would love to see more of this rolled out. Overall, it's still too early for me to sort of rank this album in amongst the others, but it's a very, very good album. I would say it's definitely up there, you know, it's definitely not missed at all, and I'm really liking it. It lacks those couple bangers to sort of elevate it that bit more, but I'm not mad at all. Like, there's no songs that I feel like missed. After 1 week, I'm giving this a solid 8 out of 10. But you lot, let me know what you thought of the album in the comments below, and let me know your favourite track, favourite bar, because there's plenty on here. And I'll see you next time. Love.